Right?
Alright, I won't record you.
But the ego, I tell you what the ego is. The ego is when I've decided that this is the answer, that's it.
Yeah, but it is though, it's facts.
What did I say to you? I am
when
willing.
You're say you know 1 plus 1. Same thing. Are you going to think it's going to change tomorrow? You know it is already.
No, of course not.
Exactly.
But is that your belief? But if 1 plus 1 is a knowing, though, that's what I'm trying to say.
I'm telling you I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, bro, that's what I'm trying to say. Do you know how I know you don't know? Because the Christian says they know. And the Hindu says they know.
Yeah,
and the Sikh says they know. And the Jew says they know. And then if I put all four of you in a room and said all 4 of you know, yeah? Yeah. All right, you have a conversation with one another. I bet you any money you won't agree. But you all know.
No, but they all know that there's something. We all know there's a creator.
Yeah, but what
it might be different, but they all know.
Okay, so we differ on what the creator is, yeah?
That's within the universe.
They differ.
That's universe.
And that's the point, because the creator is a belief system.
Within the universe.
It's a belief system for the Muslim, it's a belief system for the Hindu, for the Sikh, for the Jew, for the Christian. Everyone says they know, and what I'm trying to say is that you don't know, you believe, because if you all know, you would all come to an agreement. Just like we agree that 1 plus 1 is 2. We agree 1 plus 1 is 2, bro. We all know, we're not arguing about that. No, but it is.
You can't say about
No, but it should be. Because if you all claim that you know, sit down and talk then if you know. Because when you Jew talk to a Muslim and a Muslim talks to a Christian and a Christian talks to you don't agree, you don't all know.
You're putting them all in one
You
box.
don't believe in what we believe in.
Of course not. Because it's a belief.
Yeah, but you believe your beliefs.
No, but I'm going with knowings. I'm not going with beliefs. I'm going with things that I know.
But how do you know when science is theory?
Right, that's what I'm saying. As far as we know.
Science can only
Yeah, as far as we
And listen.
So that knowing ends.
No, the knowing ends, but it could continue. Now listen, everything is could, because if you don't go and keep learning, you will stifle yourself as a human being.
Science and God comes together, because even as Muslims, we can believe in scientific revelations, because God gave scientists the knowledge to find out these things. So we're not saying that we don't believe in science. I believe in science very much, but
science can only tell you so much.
I agree.
Science could, it's different. It changes with
I totally agree. So what do we know then? So then what do we know then, bro? So bro, what do we know? We know that we don't know everything.
I know, listen.
Correct?
Hey, big man.
We know that we don't know everything.
But we don't know everything, because the Creator knows everything.
But the creator is a belief.
It's science.
It is though, that's what I'm trying to say. You have to learn to humble yourself and say it's a belief. Because the thing is,
I'm not humbling myself.
It is though.
Nah, no.
Yeah, but listen,
because if you,
it's a belief with
as strongly as you
certainty.
believe in Allah,
It's a belief.
as strongly and heartfelt as you believe in Allah, there's a Christian that strongly and heartfelt believes in Jesus. And there's a Sikh that believes in that. And so I'm trying to say, everyone heartfelt and in their brain and in their heart and in their soul, they believe it's this. Everyone. I'm gonna finish it. Everyone. And if I put all of you in a room, and say, listen, you all know, yeah? You all believe, and myself, and say, listen, do you all know? But I'm gonna tell you that I don't know everything. I'm gonna back out and say, listen, I don't know everything. You like guys say you know everything, so you don't talk. And between you, no, hang on, not you, but your God. Sorry,
God does everything.
They say your God is the all-knowing, yeah? And I say, okay, if your God is your all-knowing, all of you that have this all-knowing God, if you speak about your all-knowing God together, you're all going to disagree. So then how do you all know?
Yeah, but the main principle is that there is
How do you all know then?
Listen,
That's what I'm saying. Of course you know. And just as much as you know, they know. Now you will say, they don't know.
Nah, you just got a problem with saying I know, man. They're all different. Alright, I believe with certainty. They're all different.
Every religion believes with certainty.
Listen, belief with certainty. What's the difference between I know and I believe with certainty? It's the same thing.
No, but it's subjective.
But you don't believe in certainty.
No, do you know what subjectivity
Your belief
is?
is incomplete, because it can change tomorrow. My belief is complete.
I am humble enough to tell you that I don't know everything. I'm humble enough. My ego doesn't need to explain to you and tell you that I know everything. No, but you're saying that in your belief system, it is the one for humanity. So you're saying essentially your belief system knows everything, or the God of your belief system knows everything.
But what do you need to... Listen, you said you don't...
But he does. You know, he's just trying to say there's a difference between belief and knowledge.
And knowledge, exactly. And
beliefs are subjective because you've got so many different beliefs, you know? even though your heart believe that it's 100% true, Christians believe the same thing is 100% true.
Of course it's a belief.
But it's
I
different.
have no problem with Christians.
100%. Everyone's my ego's not that big to try and tell you that this is the
But
way.
we accept we don't know everything.
Subjective of belief to me. Like,
the same as
I agree with him. He talks a lot of
I'm smart
sense.
enough
So
to know that. though.
listen.
Religious people aren't smart enough to say the same thing because they're so.
I'm telling you.
I'm smart enough to know that my belief.
But you're not humble by saying I am smart.
Listen.
No,
Saying
but
I
I know.
am.
But I know I'm smart though.
You're trying to come across like I've got pride in me for saying I know, and you're trying to say I don't have a big ego. I'm trying to humble myself
But
and say
you're
I
saying
don't
I
know.
am smart.
That's what you're trying to say.
The man, I tell you something. There's a saying.
Is that what you're trying to say?
No, the person who knows something knows that they don't know anything.
Just because I say I know,
That
doesn't mean I'm.
that means the more you learn, the more you realize there's so much that you actually don't know. You're like, and I only know a little
Okay,
bit.
that's fair
You
enough.
just said I
But
am smart though. You
of
just said
course,
I am smart.
of course, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Alright, for me-
I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything.
Nah, but listen, let's go back to before what you said. You said to
You're
humble-
not smart enough to know that you don't know everything. You're
but that's
no,
alright.
I
no.
believe that I don't know everything. I know that.
No, but you're saying that it's via this. It's via this channel,
First you said
which
it's
is
smart.
Mrs. Islam.
First you said it's smart.
It's Islam.
Then you said
That's what
humble.
you're saying. It's Islam.
Could you
You're not
believe
smart enough to get that everyone around the globe sees or
Okay,
views
you're trying to play the low
what God
class.
is differently.
You're trying to play the low
And they're
class
allowed
game,
to
man.
do that.
They are allowed.
Okay, so they're allowed to do that, but within your system, you have within your system,
It's not a system.
One second,
Islam's not a
it's
system.
fine. Big man.
It's a way of life.
Big man.
Within your religion, you have derogatory names, or your God says, no, but it does, but your God says the people that don't believe this way are going to go there. It's like,
But listen, okay, listen.
if your God's all knowing, he will know that too then,
We
innit?
rewind a bit.
He will know that these people are going to look this and do that. Why would he create something that does that?
Listen, yo.
And there comes the belief, part. Go on.
Before you said, I'm humble enough to say that I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, you got it on camera. And then you said, I'm smart. I'm not that smart to say that I know. Yeah. So you're trying to play the low class game where I'm not smart. I'm dumb. And you're trying to play the game where I've not got no pride in me. I'm trying to be humble. So you're trying to play that little like I don't know nothing, and I'm also trying to be humble at the same time. So because I say I know doesn't mean I've got pride in me. For me to say, okay, so if I say I know that there's a tree there, do I have pride in me?
No, not about the tree, no.
Oh, get out of here, man.
No, not about the tree. I'm talking about. You're not willing to learn though, bro. Like, it's not the same thing. We're talking about, and you know the trees there just like I do though. No, but you do know, I know the trees there too.
It's because, listen.
I
Okay,
know the trees there, so do you. We ain't got to argue about that.
alright, I'll turn
You're
around.
saying
turn
God
around.
is there.
You already know the trees there, you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So what's the problem?
Yeah.
What's behind
But
the
you're
trees?
saying God is there.
Winterland.
You see what I'm saying? The difference. We all know the trees there, bro.
Winterland.
You're saying God is there and we don't all agree on that. Do you get what I'm saying? So you're saying something's
know
there
where it's gone.
that we don't all agree on.
Where is God? We don't know.
Yeah, go on.
Alright, so
Now
basically,
you tell us where God is, tell us.
No, there are many creators.
okay, what are the many creators?
I can name them.
You go ahead.
Zeus, right? Yahweh,
Yahweh, no,
Allah,
Allah,
the universe.
Elohim.
No, I'm saying people claim they created the
Okay, so
universe.
what I'm trying to say is
There are many gods. There are many gods.
I don't believe in creation.
Then you enter religion.
so then you don't believe in yourself?
No,
You don't believe
I
in your
believe in transformation
Transformation. What's transformation?
from one form to another form.
So what am I going to transform to another?
Transformation. That's a new one.
If I was to ask you if you were alive 60 years ago, what would you say?
Yes.
No. You weren't alive 60
I
years
was
ago.
alive 60 years ago. Weren't you alive 60 years ago?
If I was to say to you that your parents were alive 60 years ago, they weren't. Your parents weren't alive 60 years ago. Wow, how young are you? All right, let's say 40 years.
Yeah.
Were your parents alive 40 years ago? Okay, so if I would say to you were alive in one way, shape or form 40 years ago,
Wait,
in the
we're alive in
form, in one way, shape or form, in the form of an egg and sperm, you were alive. You weren't quite this form though. You were in another form. The form that you were in 40 years ago was egg and sperm. Were you alive?
I wasn't
No,
alive,
no,
because
it's
I'm
not
about
alive.
to be produced.
Okay, so but you said you weren't alive 40 years ago.
Alive in what sense?
In one way, shape, or form. That's what I'm
I
saying.
didn't have free will to think for myself, but I was about to be produced to become alive.
Right, so when we go into the world of quantum, the world of quantum says everything is in existence simultaneously. Meaning there's one. If I would say to you, there's no apple pie or there's no apple crumble in your oven right now. Right? There isn't, is there? But the potential for there to be an apple crumble in your oven, there's apples, there's crumble, there's sugar.
Yeah, we all know that.
Right, so it's not in existence. The apple crumble is in existence, is it?
It's not in existence yet.
In that form.
Okay.
But it's already in existence though. In another
The
form.
particles exist.
Yeah.
Right? It's another form. So you were already in existence in another
what's your
form.
point? Come on.
So my point is,
was in a
everything has
different
always
life.
existed
She was
in
in a
one way,
different
shape, or form.
She was
If
in a
you're talking
different
about
life.
creation,
No,
I'm
isn't it?
talking about
The particles that
transformation.
make her up were
You said,
in existence.
do I believe in it? I
she
don't
was
believe in
alive.
creation.
We all alive, but it's
Transformation.
somewhere else.
You transform from one form
Then we
to
were
another form,
reborn
and
here.
you always existed. Everything has always
the
existed
theory.
in one
That's how it
way,
goes.
shape,
So it
or
doesn't
form.
go somewhere.
People create it. It's
For
ongoing
instance, if I
cycle.
was to say, if I was to take your belief on and say Allah created the universe, right? The potential for Allah to create the universe has always existed.
Yeah.
Which means
There's no
the
proof
universe
that it
has
actually
always
did.
existed inside Allah's potential before it became the universe.
We've had this discussion.
Yeah, because he knows.
Like I said, in one way, he doesn't want to be on the camera. In one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and what's your point?
What are you afraid of?
I said that's my system. The system of transformation, not creation. Everything has always
Yeah, but to
existed.
transform,
Yeah.
you need to have a creator. So, for example,
Yeah, go on.
this phone right here, once it had bolts and it had screws and it had a phone case and it had a lens and
Yep.
all that shit, and it transformed
Yep,
into a
into
phone,
what the phone is.
by the creator that
Right.
made the phone.
Right. And what is a creator?
The creator of the
Design of the phone.
design and the
Right.
objects and the
So then we go back to energy, right? Then we go back to energy. So in my system, yeah, everything is energy. Everything. There is nothing that is not energy. So energy
So
comes.
it's like love energy.
Of course it is. You put that on
But who
that
made this
atoms.
love? Who made it?
Another energy form.
Yeah, but who made it?
Made it.
Another energy form.
Who made it?
Which is what?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an energy.
Okay then. That's what I'm trying to say. So energy transforms energy.
Yeah. But there was a creator that made it.
You're
Whether
saying
it's
the creator-
Energy
or not,
was. Energy
yeah,
was.
But whether it's energy or not, with the energy that the humans used to make it,
Yeah.
it was still made by a creator.
Which was.
Human. Who made this?
You keep saying
Which
energy,
was energy.
but-
What was energy?
But we are energy.
Exactly. So I said I don't have a separation from energy. Energy is everything is energy.
So you said everything's random?
Yeah, but energy has
No,
to be
no, no, no.
created.
No, everything is energy.
No, but every energy has to be created by something.
That's the question.
That's what I'm saying. You're separating it.
No,
E equals
I'm not
MC
separating.
squared.
I'm very simple.
No, because what you're saying
Everything has to be created by
E equals MC
something.
squared.
What
Where did the
That's been
energy
found
I'm
out.
saying is energy
You know what energy is
transforms.
now.
I think there's a problem with the question of where does energy come from. If you think energy has to come from something else, if there is something else that you think is not energy, where does that something come from?
Okay, so basically,
Then
alright, so basically, my friend just said that to make this glove, a human uses the energy to make the glove.
No, a human is energy,
Yeah, so the human is
energy.
and so is a glove.
Yeah, but still.
So energy just created energy, or energy just transformed energy from another form of energy, which was what?
That's
Cotton.
Yeah, but you can't
reaching the
you can't
idea.
say energy for every.
There is
Everything is energy.
Right.
Equals MC squared.
I know, but you still need a creator.
The creator is energy. That's what I'm trying to say to you. The creator of the glove is an energy being. It is
Okay,
energy
so would you say
force.
that this universe is a product of energy?
Huh?
Would you say that this universe is a product of energy?
The universe is energy, and the only thing that transforms energy is energy.
So the universe is self-subsistent.
Of course, because just like you said, someone created that glove. You asked what created that glove,
Energy.
right? Energy. Because what are we?
She's asking what
Yeah, but you're
are
not
the
getting what I'm
origins of
trying to
energy?
say.
What are the origins?
Energy is continuous. It's continuous. It's a continuous cycle.
When you go to the Big Bang and the quantum.
So if I was to say to you, if energy came into being at one
when you
point,
go to a
if I was to say that to you, if I was to say, I have your belief system, and I say energy came into being, Did it take energy to do that?
Of course, yes.
So then what would be the thing that created everything? Would it be energy?
But
So then energy is constantly existing.
No.
Energy is always existing.
No, wait, that's the thing. If you're talking about the Islamic perspective, the Islamic narrative, no. Because there's a differentiation, which with other religions I'm not too sure they do.
They separate themselves
They
from...
separate themselves,
I know
okay?
they do.
With God, the Creator, in the Quran, it's established that there is no liken unto Him. There is nothing that you can liken, including your idea of energy. So you can't say...
Can I stop you there? Just from my belief, I believe that the holder of this energy is the creator. Because without a creator, there can be no energy.
So then would energy exist inside this creator then? Would energy exist as part of this creator then?
I'm addressing that.
Would energy exist as part of this creator then?
Yes.
So then energy has always existed.
Yeah,
Not the energy you are...
No, listen.
You just checkmated yourself.
You're not even listening, though. You're just assuming I'm saying something I'm not saying.
made the energy.
Right, from itself.
No.
What do you mean from itself? It was already there.
So energy, so the creator is energy then?
But the creator has knows everything.
No, I'm saying, but the creator is energy then?
No, he's not energy.
Okay, but he has energy as part of him?
No. He is not energy. He can create the energy to make the universe.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If can something create something that's not a part of it? Do you know anything that can do that? So if I don't have energy within me as any part of me, how can I now create energy?
Yeah, but you have to exist in order to create that energy.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, nothing that we know of, you see, this is what I'm trying to talk about beliefs and knowing. Nothing that we know of has something as part of it and doesn't give it to what it creates. Nothing that we know of does that.
What do you mean?
Okay. A tree gives the same genetic code to another tree. Does that make sense? A monkey gives the same genetic code to the monkey that it creates, and a fish gives the same genetic code to another fish that it creates. So nothing that we know of does not create something of itself and not give it the same.
Your mum gave birth to you.
No, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So your mother. So I am essentially my mother's DNA, right? And my father's DNA. So I'm saying, everything that we know does that. Everything that we know gives its DNA.
Yes, but
hang on. But you're saying in the case of God, God doesn't do that.
So we use the mother example, yeah?
Right.
So when you were in your womb,
right,
did you know what you were going to come out to?
No, you didn't know anything.
You didn't know, did you?
No.
So then why are you denying Muslims? Like, why are you denying Muslims of not knowing what is outside of the realms of the universe when you didn't know when you were in your mum's womb?
No, but then you came into knowing though that was your
and
mum.
how do you know that when we die we won't come into knowing? Because it's scientifically...
You don't know anything when you die.
It's scientifically proven that the brain is still active after you die, and you can go home and you can research that afterwards.
Right.
So we know that there is still something going on after we die.
Fine.
So when your mum gives birth, you don't know what you're going to be born into.
Right.
But when you experience life, you know that there is a purpose now.
Right.
So we are on this earth for the purpose of knowing what is to come afterwards.
That's your belief.
Yeah, but
because you know your mum.
Yeah, but you just said that.
No, but you know your mum though.
What do you mean I know my mum?
And you know, and you said the child comes out and the parents. You didn't know what you were going to become, but you eventually know your mum. Do you know God?
What do you mean? Do I know?
Because you were likening it to us coming out of the womb of your mother, and we didn't know what we would become. We didn't know anything, but then we knew that was our mother, right? But you're saying you're using the same example for us and God
because she created us,
right? And that's not a belief, is it?
But do you know God? Do you know God?
We know that.
Yeah, but if I was
we don't know that God created this. We believe God created this.
If I was an orphan.
Yes,
that's what Muslims believe. They know God. Christians believe they know God, right?
I would know consciously, without even thinking about it, that I